I'm Mark Bouris, and this is Straight Talk.
Don't ever be a midget. It's too hard.
Grant Patterson, welcome to Straight Talk, mate.
I am a short person, midget, little person, dwarf, whatever you want to say. If you think not let the little things affect you, think about how much happier you will be. When I see people overcome adversity and do something that's outside their comfort zone, it makes me so happy. We all have choices on whether to fold, call, or to raise. Pick the raise card and make something from nothing.
Fuck, is it up in Cairns?
Yep.
Mate, there's crocodiles up there.
I know. Got me midget grills.
Grant Patterson, welcome to Straight Talk, mate.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
We met up in Cairns about, I don't know, it seems like forever.
Back in May.
Was it May? It wasn't only that long. It
Yeah.
actually feels like it was sometime last year.
Yeah.
And we were both guest speakers at a function, which was an interesting function. There were a lot of, there's a stack of guest speakers. I can't believe the headline sort of speakers. It was pretty impressive, actually. I talked to you and I said, "You mate, come down and do a straight talk with me." I thought it'd be pretty cool. And before the show, this show, we were just chatting then about Grant Patterson, otherwise known as Scooter. And how does he best describe himself in terms of what you do from day to day?
Well, I'm hoping I've got Worlds next year.
This is the World Championships.
World Championships in Manchester. And I'm chasing that elusive gold medal, try and beat the Mexican. I've also started up another hobby, go-kart racing. So hopefully I pursue that a lot more as well. But in the meantime, try and be that advocate out there to let everyone know that it doesn't matter what hand of cards you're dealt at birth, you can get out there and have a go and do the best you can.
It's a difficult concept for a lot of people to get their head around, because how did Grant make those decisions and where did he get the guts and the courage to make those decisions? I mean, so if you could take me back to, say, when you were younger, Grant.
Very interesting question, Mark. Big thanks goes out to my two parents, Steve and Shelley. They were the ones that never wrapped me up in bubble wrap. I see a lot of families today, a lot of parents that have a kid with a disability, and they tend to, because they might be missing a leg or an arm or intellectual problem, they'll tend to wrap them up in bubble wrap and not let them go out and experience the world like every other kid. But my parents, they didn't do that. They got me out there in the dirt with me mates, playing with me other friends. I remember one time I was with a mate down at the creek, and we're in a rubber ducky boat fishing for a little black brim. Anyway, we got 3 or so in the boat, and because they were jumping around, the dorsal fins popped the boat, so the boat sunk. And my mate, because he was a good bloke, he had me on his shoulders, had the boat and the rods in both hands, and we were walking towards the drop-off point where my dad was going to pick us up. And I remember his words saying when he drove down, all he could see was my mate Tom carrying me, and here am I on his back, and he's like, that's cool, My son is different, but he's out there experiencing life. Something happened, and they made it work.
Fuck, is it up in Cairns?
Yep.
Mate, there's crocodiles up there.
I know. Like it must
Serious?
Got me midget grills. Bear grills.
Well, yeah, what's interesting, you take the piss out of yourself.
Yep.
Is that a thing you've always done, or is that learned behaviour?
No, that's the thing I've always done. And I think when I was in school, I remember, I get bullied. Not all the time, but, you got certain people at school that are bullies. Mm. And I remember my parents saying, you haven't got arms and legs to reach them, so you got to play in your own way, sort of thing. And obviously that's with my words, and either ignore them or throw back a smart line, but then let them go. And I've never taken anything about my physical appearance to heart. Like, just for example, I just used the word midget. A lot of short people hate that word because it hurts their feelings or it's not what they are. But at the end of the day, I am a short person, midget, little person, dwarf, whatever you want to say. It's just a word. And what I tell a lot of people out there, if you think not let the little things affect you, think about how much happier you will be throughout the 52 weeks of that year. I never let anything like that affect me. That's why I'm doing all my training. I'm working. I'm doing my go-kart racing. I'm just full of life. But don't let the little things get to me.
Do you think it's because your parents maybe sort of exerted tough love on you? In other
Tough
words,
love, exactly.
have you ever spoke to your parents about it?
No, it's just, I really think, honestly, my parents weren't uni degree people, anything like that. They were just old school, like my dad's parents and my mum's parents were tough on them. And they just did the same to me, like what their parents did to them. When I backshotted my mum or my dad, I would never do it to my dad because he pulled the belt out
Yeah,
and belt the crap out of my butt.
yeah,
And that hurt.
old school.
Yeah. And meanwhile, a lot of people probably look at that and go, oh, how could you do that to that little person? You know, he can't help it or he can't defend himself. No, he needs to learn that when his father says, no, this is how it is, that's how it is. No more backchat. And I remember back in the day, I used to fight him a lot, but I learnt, and I'm so thankful for that because it's made me the independent man I am today. I'm so thankful for them, full stop.
Independence is a really important one because I actually don't see you with a disability, but I do see you as a shorter person. You know, you compete at everything, and you know, you can't take a bigger step as me, perhaps, and you probably can't reach out as far in the pool as maybe I could, but it doesn't matter. You, within your class of competitor, you compete in everything you do. So did Mum ever say, oh, what's your dad's name? First name?
Steve and Shelley.
Steve, yeah, maybe you've been a bit tough on Grant, you know, like, can you pull up?
There was times after we had our arguments and discipline actions where afterwards, you know, he would say, mate, I love you to bits and it hurts me to do this, but you can't do this and I'm doing it for your own good. And that's the part that really, you know, there was never no hate. It was just him disciplining me. And then afterwards, you know, he made sure he realised that you don't do that. That's not right. That's not how you talk to your mother. You don't talk to me like that. And that's how the world works. And it definitely wasn't like a horror house or anything. But it's just good old discipline, which has disappeared in the younger generation today. I think you would agree.
Yeah, well, I have 4 sons, like, and all of them were a nightmare in different ways to me. And I was a sort of a single father. I have to say now that, like, I did not spare a good whack for my kids if they deserved it. That's it. I don't give a shit when anyone says or doesn't like it or whatever. I mean, none of them are scarred or sort of upset. You know, they're all fine. I don't think there's any reason to, because society doesn't accept this, there's no reason to put him in a cotton wool and keep telling him everybody owes you a living.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, no one gives a shit.
Correct.
And you've got to go out and make your own trouble. You know, stand for something, be skilled at something. Now, you have developed a skill, which is you're a naturally funny dude, but you got a unbelievably good story to get off your ass and do something about it. How the fuck do you keep doing that every single day of your life? I mean, where do you get the gumption?
I ask myself that question sometimes. I've come back from Portugal and I've got nothing now until next year.
When you say nothing, you've got no more games until next year.
No more swimming racing.
Yeah.
Doing go-kart racing, which
yeah.
is totally different, but you need to be fit for that. So I've told my coach, I said, I'm just going to do 6 sessions.
Swimming in the pool?
Well, 2 gym, 4 swim, and just take it a little bit easier in the afternoons. Because you also, I think what I've learned over the last 4 years of my swimming career is you only live once and you got to make the most of every moment you have on this planet. And, for example, I've just done my major comp in Portugal a month ago. The next 6 months, I want to enjoy it a bit more before it ramps up before Manchester next year. But the word that you said before about how do I do it, I asked myself that question because me sort of doing the 6 sessions now after I come back from Portugal, I had about 2 weeks off. And it's like, you know, and I'm looking to try and make Paris, LA, and then the end goal is 2032 Brisbane. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but
2032.
Yeah, I know. That's 10 years away.
But no, but that's a 10-year plan. That's cool.
But it's like, I don't know how it works. And I just tell people, it's like this mongrel inside my head. And it could be an enemy of me one day too, because it just doesn't know when to stop. It's just hungry for success. And I think that's a good thing in a lot of ways, but also in other ways of sort of settling down, you know, maybe finding a partner one day. Because I'm so hungry to reach the top of that mountain, it can scare people away sometimes as well. But I do enjoy what I'm doing right now. I wouldn't have it any other way. Let me give you an example of how my brain works. But this is an example. Any other person with a disability like me would have struggled last night. I got to Sydney at 10:30. I got to my apartment on William Street, and there's there's a button about at your head height. So I'm up on my handlebars on my scooter trying to push this button because there's 2 flights of stairs to get to the apartment. I'm like, what did I book this for? And I hit the button. I said, hey, mate, can you open the door and where's the lift?
It's like the concierge.
Yeah. And he said, oh, yeah, I'll open the door and just walk up. And he hung up. So I hit the button again. Hey, mate, I can't walk upstairs. I'm going to need a hand. He said, oh, I'll come down and show you. So he's come down. He's put my bag inside. He'll walk upstairs. But he said, you need to go up this hill, up William Street. You explain how William Street is very steep.
Totally.
Yeah. And so he said, you just got to go up there and then come down Premier Lane. And this is at like 10:30 at night, tired, got my backpack on. Yeah, I'm a swimmer, not a mountain hiker. Here I am ploughing up this hill late at night, and I'm just like, what am I doing? But, that's without my resilience that I've been through the last 30 years in my swimming life and all the challenges I've overcome. Like, for example, missing out on Rio, that was a big taste of resilience to me. And I think about when I was walking up that hill last night, I was thinking about all the sad times I've had and I got through them. And I was like, this is just another challenge.
Piece of piss.
Yeah.
Do you think it's your resilience has come about as a result of your swimming career?
Yeah, it has definitely. And like,
not your wins, your losses.
No. That's probably the most rewarding part. It sounds weird, but it's probably the most rewarding part of my swimming career because I went to London 2012, didn't get a medal, made final. I got over the fear of failure there and also learnt how to stop trying to control the uncontrollable. And then obviously Rio, I wanted to get a medal. Come Rio, missed out on the team altogether. And then I remember after I got told by the manager that I'd missed out, I was at home. I called my parents after training. It was about 7 o'clock at night. And I was just annoyed with the world because Paralympic swimming, I'm not going to sit here and complain about it, but it's never going to be a fair lane of people because everyone's different in my class.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. Anyway, so I said to my parents, I was fuming and I was angry, and they're like, Grant, you have 2 options. Option 1, you can ring up the current affair or whatever you want to do and complain to the world that Paralympic sport is unfair and the classes are whatever you think they are. Or 2, you can go back to the drawing board, know what you're up against, and if you so happen to do well and make Tokyo and win a medal, we're not saying you are, but if you do, think about that story you'll get to tell. And I remember at that point in time, there was part of my competitive brain that said, no, we should be on the team to Rio. This is rubbish. But then the other part of me said, the independent side from my parents said, no, think about this story. If this works, it'll be sensational going from London, no medal, Rio, miss out, Tokyo, silver and bronze. 13 year in the making. Think about that story.
So you
I was wanting 1 medal. I got 2.
The what could be was stronger than what was.
Yeah. I shut my mouth and went back to work. Yeah. If there was an opportunity there, I was going to be there to collect it. And that's what happened.
When you missed out on Rio, the next one in line is Tokyo, which got delayed a year, of course.
COVID.
Yep. When do you train? What time of day?
So I wake up at 4:45, in the water at 5:30 till 7:30, and then go to work, and then back at the pool at about 5:15, 5:30 till 6:30.
2 sessions a day, probably train that
7
day.
swim, 2 gym, so 9 sessions all up.
Okay, 9 sessions all up. So you're waking up for 5 years.
Whoa, 13, but...
Well, no, but post-Rio, right?
Yeah, 5 years.
Leading up to Japan. But the prospect, by the way, could fuck it up too. You might not get to Japan.
Yep.
Yeah, could have
and then the whole COVID thing come into it.
And you had COVID sitting on top of you. Yeah. So you're up there in Cairns. You train in Cairns?
Yep.
Fucking alarm goes off, and you jump back in the pool. And I've done swimming. It's like to be honest, like it's
You're by
fucking hard
yourself.
work.
Yeah, you're by
It's
yourself.
both. If you're looking at that line,
Yeah,
you're going up
backline
and down,
fever.
and you get in your own head
Yeah.
because there's no music. You can't put
Nope.
headphones on. You can't talk to your colleague. You can at the end of the end of the lap, perhaps, but
I'm too busy
you're
doing
training,
what I'm doing.
and if
so
you're
no
training
time to
hard,
talk.
you're
Yeah.
pretty fucked. You're
can't
not.
talk.
You're breathing. You're gasping.
Yeah.
So, and you got your goggles on, and what's your head saying to you when you're going up and down the pool? What are you saying to yourself?
I'm always thinking about what's the next obstacle I'm going to overcome, as in like with work or with what I'm doing with myself, with my management team, or even like my go-kart. I've only just got my go-kart trailer set up, and there was a while there where I was thinking about how we're going to set it up. I do a lot of thinking while I'm swimming, and I like it to be happy thinking, because when I'm not happy about something, I tend to, not focus enough on what I'm doing in the water, and then it takes your happy focus away, which I don't like to do. But swimming is definitely, medically and physically it's good for my body, but mentally it's great, because you go in there, there's no one around, no one can call you, nothing like that, and you pretty much come out refreshed. When I wake up in the morning in winter, it's the worst, because I'm like, why am I hopping out of this warm bed? But when I finish at 7:30, it's like, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm ready to work for the day.
I keep myself busy because that's the way it stops me thinking about stuff that's shitting me.
Well, it's funny you say that. I'd say no, because I still think about the shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I'm not happy about a decision that's been made, I'll still hop out of the water angry. And I go home thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I'll never showcase to people, and I'll never do the wrong thing by anyone else. I might talk to my coach, I've had a shit decision today at work, and, we'll have a quick chat, and off I go. But I'll never lash out or anything. But I don't think it definitely doesn't fix it for me, but it takes a lot of that, because you got to understand, a lot of people, it's hard for them to understand what a real successful sports person goes through, because for me to do what I do in that water 5, 7, 9 times a week for the last 13 years, my coach explains it well. What we go through and what we have to take on board, as in mentally, when we're doing a hard session, like I turn into this monster, and sometimes that monster gets suppressed better in the water, if that makes sense. Because when I'm doing, say, a hard set that goes for 1 hour, back to when we're talking about growing up, being tough love, all that crap, a lot of that independence helps, and the resilience helps fuel this monster to get through that 1 hour session, because a normal person would last 5 minutes. You know what I mean? You know what swimming's like. It's hard. The breathing, the fatting, and then doing it for an hour, like a hard aerobic set, you need to be...
It's grinding.
Yeah. And to be able to do that, also, when you leave that session, you have to be able to calm him down and put him away. And like I work a customer sales job, I then have to turn him off, go to work, and go, hi, how are you? How can I help you?
Well, does that mean then, Grant, that you're good at compartmentalizing your life?
I think, I don't know what that word is, but I think
you
that
say,
sounds good.
Okay, I'm going 4 I'm going to go train.
Yep.
Train's done. Block that off. I'm now going to go to work. Now, work on customer service, and I've got to be Grant, the friendly dude.
And I can't be tired.
Yep.
Sometimes I might be able to pick myself up and talk clear on the phone, all that stuff. But it's completely different, where a lot of athletes don't work and they go home and rest. And I understand it. It's a very hard thing on the body. Yeah, but because I want more in life, I'm doing more.
Do you think you have more physical pain because every sportsman has pain, they get injuries all the time? Do you think you suffer more than say a normal sports person who's like fucking one of these Olympians non-Paralympians, whatever the word is? I mean, do you feel as though do you get injuries bad?
That's a good question. And if I was to put you in my body, you would suffer tremendously. But over the years, I've adapted to it, and I've built up a tolerance.
Yep.
Part of my disorder, diastrophic dysplasia, is obviously short stature, short limbs, and curvature of the bones, and lack of cartilage in all my joints.
In all your joints?
Yes. So
you got arthritis?
Yes, pretty much. But because I'm used to it, I don't actually know any better.
It's funny how your brain adjusts, adapts.
Yeah, but I remember when I was starting, it was hard work. Even like having a couple of days off and get back into serious swimming. Like the other week, because I haven't done a serious swimming since before I left to Portugal, I was happy for this young fella. I normally smash him in the pool. For example, I'll do a 75, he goes a 125, and normally I'll cream him, but I got beaten.
How'd you feel with that?
Inside, I was hurting. I was like, I want to get back to 9 sessions. Screw this 6 session bullshit. Let's get back on fire. But it means I said, Grant, we're chilling out for 6 months, remember? Slow down. We got 10 years, mate.
Let's build.
Slow down. And I was happy for him because he beat me. I was like, mate, I went and shook his hand. I was like, congrats, brother. I said, that was a great session. I said, I was chasing the whole way, but I just didn't have it.
I mean, you could easily say be filthy on the world and have no gratitude. Yeah. Just be fucking dirty all the time.
Well, I think it's very important. I'm very appreciative of being able to roll around on this planet for one, but yet to be able to go and do a full session and challenge another, like, for example, how I just explained how we set up that session. I did 75 metres, I did 125. Yeah, being able to do that stuff. I think also being accepted by my peers. But no, gratitude is a big...
Is that something you work on? I mean, can you get dark?
It's natural, I think. I think going back to my parents, the way they discipline me, respect elders all the time, please and thank you, and you'll be treat others how you want to be treated. And I don't like having enemies. But obviously, you know, you have times where people might do the wrong thing by you, but I like to work it out and make a solution. And if the two people don't want to fix it or resolve it, well, then you go your separate ways. But you don't need to sit there and fight about it.
I mean, you know, there's all these people talk about meditation and all that sort of stuff. I get it.
I fall asleep.
So do I actually. But like, but it's good. It's a good thing. But and meditate with gratitude and all that sort of stuff. But that's people. It's sort of like people training themselves to have gratitude, to actually to feel appreciative, as you said. But is it fair to say that you're naturally appreciative of everything that comes your way? And is that because you might have thought at some stage, I'm never going to be able to become a swimmer, then all of a sudden you thought, shit, I can be a swimmer, I am a swimmer. Not only that, I'm a medalist at the Paralympics.
You know, when I was little, I remember one of the things my parents said is, you have to be very respectful and appreciative when people help you, because there's going to be a lot of people that want to help you, Grant, and if you don't show your appreciation, you're going to get a reputation of, that little fellow was rude to me, or I'll never want that to happen ever. And I do a lot of people. I'll be at the shopping centre at Coles and I'll be throwing my shit up on a conveyor belt, and I'll have people, can I please come help you? Can I do that for you? I said, no, mate, I'm fine. Thank you very much. I said, if you want, you can come home and mop my floor. That's a joke, spice it up. Because life's too short. Look at me.
Do you get awkward moments? Many awkward moments?
No.
You never get awkward moments? No. Or, I mean, do other people get awkward moments with you?
Yes, big time.
And what do you do?
I don't know what to say. I'm really sorry. I said, mate, don't be sorry. I said, you're a very helpful person, but I don't need help. I enjoy throwing my shit up on the conveyor belt. I've been at work all day. I'm doing something different.
Yeah, but how do you deal with other people's awkwardness? I just
say, don't say sorry, and
how do you calm them down, or whatever you call it?
Yeah, let them know it's okay. I said, but thanks for offering. It's a nice gesture of you.
Do you ever get dirty and say, listen, fuck off? I'm sweet.
I'd never.
How do you control those emotions?
Sometimes I'm a little bit. I never swear or anything like that, but sometimes a little bit upfront. Like I was on a plane yesterday, hopping off the plane, and I had a lady with an impatient husband who was he's waiting. You get those people who are just wagging at your tail, get off the plane, and then she was being polite, obviously waiting for the movement of the traffic, and then she's going to offer me a go. Meanwhile, she didn't know I can walk. And then I had an old mate beside me wanting me to go. And I said, sorry, mate, I can't walk. You go. And then obviously didn't hear me, so I explained myself again. And then I waved this lady on. Mate, you go. She's like, oh, what about you? I said, no, I can't walk. You go. And I was very tired and over it. So, but, sometimes might not come across as nice, but always try and be clear and whatever. Never fuck off.
Can you take your scooter on the plane?
I go on the plane,
Yeah.
domestically,
Yeah.
and they'll whip it underneath after I hop on the seat.
Yeah,
But
like in the hole.
internationally, it goes in the
And the baggage thing
overhead
up top.
lockers.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it goes up in business class, and I say, hey, bear, you put Scoop back in economy, and I'll go up there. I'll have the pina coladas.
But so you they have to give you a wheelchair or something like that to take you out. You can just
on
walk
the
out.
scooter.
On a domestic flight.
No, right on,
Yeah.
and I jump off the seat, and then they carry it down for me.
They take it down the back for you or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, really
okay,
nice.
Sweet.
And
Okay,
it
that's
saves
cool.
them doing work pushing this wheelchair that don't know how to push.
I'm looking at it. It's pretty fucking old.
Yep.
Tell me the deal. What's the deal about your
It's
scooter?
probably done about 50 million miles.
Tell me the deal about who made that for
So,
you. There's a story on
It
it.
originated back in, I think, 2010. How it all started was there was a bike before that was made, a year before that one, and that was made by one of my friends and his mates at school, and my brother was in the year behind him.
Your younger brother.
Yeah, my little bigger brother, Mitchell. Anyway, the bike that was made before Mitchell made my aluminium one was a solid steel one. It was like a downhill bloody thing. It weighed about 8-9 kilos. And I loved that they made it for me, but it was heavy to lift in the car because how I drive, I have all my mods set up, but I lift the bike up over the steering wheel and put it in the passenger seat.
Yep.
I ride shotgun. Someone wants to sit there, they can either hop in the tray or they move it into the back. Up to them. So anyway, I mentioned, well, obviously my parents and my brother knew that it was a bit heavy for me to lift over. And so my brother Mitch in manual arts he was in grade 12. And I think
at school? Whilst he was at school?
Yeah. And I think it was 2010 or 11. He made me the aluminium one.
So he made that.
Yeah. And I've still got a heavy one. It's at home. It's inside bike. So I keep the house clean inside, and then that's my outside bike.
Yeah, because it looks like he's done some miles.
It's done miles, and everyone says, why don't you give it a paint job? But whenever people hop in my car and put it in the back of a ute, they don't tie it up properly and it gets scratched.
It gets scratched.
So, I said, they're here to talk to me, not the scooter. If they want, they can talk to scooter.
So I noticed you got a beard.
Yep.
And at the moment, but I think when I saw you up in Kansas, I'm not sure if you had a beard.
It might have been a 7 o'clock shadow.
It might have just been a little bit like I pretend it is sometimes.
That's your man.
But as I understand it, one of your processes,
Yep.
let's call it superstitions.
Traditions, process.
Is it a superstition or a tradition?
Oh, no, tradition.
Tradition is that you grow a beard when you're training.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now you are in,
I'm
not
training.
quite yet, into the serious end of the Worlds next year. Okay.
And then Paris 2024.
So 2024. So the Worlds next year is that important for you? In terms of qualifying,
stepping stone, yes.
Is part of the qualification process?
No, but it's good to be able to know that I'm doing well leading up towards Paris.
Right. So, do you know the dude who you got to beat?
I do now, but so for example, next year we'll have trials in April. Everyone else around the world will have trials before June or July, and then you get a rough indication of who's going to be there. But how they pick the team is my swimmers next year in April will be recognised of the times at 2022 in Portugal Worlds this year.
Right.
So I'll just have to be beating the times I did this year.
So how did you go in Portugal this year? Just tell me.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't swim as good as I wanted to compared to Tokyo. But I remember I touched the wall in one of my main events. I got the 50 breast and 150 IM. 150 IM I got a bronze medal, which I was happy. I was over the moon for. Bit my time. I remember I hit the wall and I looked up. I was just like, fucking hell, what is that? To myself.
Yeah.
But by the time I got over to lane 8 or whatever to hop out of the pool, I said, man, it's a swim. I said, after today, no one will know about the time. I said, you've had worse things to deal with. I said, be happy with the bronze medal. All the things I've learnt along the way in my swimming career. When you win a medal, you be happy. Time, that's my own personal thing I have to deal with. I'll go back to the drawing board and work on it. But you just want a bronze medal for your country. There's people back home that aren't even on the team. So pull your finger out of your bum and be appreciative. And, I give myself a pep talk sometimes,
Give yourself an uppercut.
Yeah, sorry, focus. Even though I was pissed off about time, give myself an uppercut to say, be happy, put a smile on your face. You just want a bronze medal for your country. Not everyone in Australia gets to say they've done that.
So, but what are your dreams beyond all that? I mean, what do you want to do? Where do you want to end up?
I want to be a person that try and help change society to be a better place and to get off their ass and make something of themselves. Not getting everyone, their parents to do everything for them all the time. Not relying on, for example, NDIS to do everything for them. Look at me. I know you don't think I'm disabled, but I can't walk.
Yep.
I live by myself, have a full-time job, I have my own house. I don't have any NDIS. I have a lot of people say, why don't you have NDIS? It can help you out. I said, because to me, when I sign up to something like that, it's taking away that can-do attitude. I mow my own lawn. I whippersnip. You should see me whippersnip. I hold it above my head. A lot of people say, that's unorthodox. I know, but I'm doing it. It's me. I'm not relying on anyone. And who knows how long that NDIS thing will last, and when it gets cut eventually, probably one day, think of all the people that rely on it. They're going to be screwed. Where I know that sounds really harsh. I'm really sorry for all those people out there.
No, that's right. It's the right thing to say.
But I'm serious. When it gets cut or when it gets taken away, all those people, and even the people that get help from Centrelink or whatever, they struggle. And, like what happened with COVID, everyone got handouts because they lost jobs or whatever. And now it's back to work time. No one wants to work because it's easier sitting there doing nothing.
So are you de-risking your life? Is that what you're doing? I mean, is that your strategy?
I would say risking, but I'm being independent, and I like to think of myself as a valuable member on this planet, just like you. You're doing what you've done.
Totally.
And I know a lot of people don't see living that way, but to me, if you want to be on this planet living, you need to make a contribution.
So, as a valuable member, which I consider you are, but as a valuable member of society, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want to pay forward?
I'll leave a legacy that doesn't matter what hand of cards you're dealt with at birth, that we all have choices on whether to fold, call, or to raise, to go out there and pick the raise card and make something from nothing. Because life's too short to sit back and sit there wondering, I really would like to be a doctor or I'd like to be an actor. Go out and do it. And that's why I like doing things like this and doing motivational speaking, is to inspire people out there, not just to settle for second best, but to inspire them to get them off the butt, to go out and let them know that it's up to them on how far they're willing to climb to reach their goals.
Because a lot of people play the not fair card. It's not fair.
Which is rubbish.
It's, like I was born a certain way. My parents were no good, or, I was not genetically, blessed like Usain Bolt or something like that. Don't worry about the not fair card. Forget about that and get on with it.
Yeah. I think what you're trying to say is, and a lot of people have said, Grant, you're very lucky. I said, yes, I am lucky. You know why I'm lucky? It's my two parents. Not everyone's had parents like me. But I hope by me sharing my story, it can help inspire and give them that extra boost to go out and chase their dreams. That's what I'm wanting to do. But swimming is a stepping stone for me getting that platform to say blah, 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 blah.
Swimming, to me, for you anyway, is a way of building awareness of who Grant Patterson is. Like everyone, I know who that dude is. I've seen him, and he calls himself Scooter, nickname, and he's on a scooter, and he wins all these medals. I get that, but that's just an opportunity for you to talk more. You feel as though you're obliged to do because you've been so lucky.
A famous quote on a movie: "With great power comes great responsibility." And I think me in a position where I am with swimming, I have an opportunity, not just with swimming, but to change the way people think. And I really would like to do that. And I got mates back at home, younger mates, that I help out. And when I see them, like the fella that beat me, when I see them do something awesome, it doesn't have to be big, like we were just training, so I say nothing big about that. But when I see people overcome adversity and do something that's outside their comfort zone, it makes me so happy. And having, I like buying fast toys and doing all that stuff, that makes me happy. But this stuff is like a natural adrenaline. Like, it's cost no money, there's nothing involved. But I've given them a bit of help, and I've watched them go over that pressure zone, and to see them do well, that makes me proud. And it's a bit like, you know, how my coach and I work. He's ecstatic to, well, I'm ecstatic to be with him for 13, 14 years, and same for him, I would say. It's just like with my personal trainer, Karina. Just very open, happy, loving, caring people, and like seeing people succeed. And I would like to, when I finish all this swimming stuff, I'd like to be in a position one day where I'm some sort of mentor to help people. Because like when I was in Portugal a month ago, a few of the younger athletes were a little bit down about their performance, even though I had my thing I dealt with, but I washed it out before he even hopped out of the pool. I was there telling them that, you know, it's okay. You know, you've done this right now. You got a silver. I know you wanted a gold, but it's not to be. And I re-educated, because I got this advice when I was in London 2012 by the psychologist. Your friends and family, everyone back home, they're going to still love you the same amount whether you got gold or 6 or bronze. As long as you put in your maximum effort, that's all that you need to do. But when you're an athlete, when you're younger, you get caught up in all the limelight and the medals and all that. And, you know, if you don't get a medal, you're going to be shit. Because that's what I used to think when I was younger.
It's funny, you know, like it's that sports psychology thing is pretty bloody important to all sports people. But most sports people, and probably most people for that matter, but the most successful people, I think, do have someone they've always looked up to. Is there someone that you've always... Do you have people in your life like that?
I look up to everyone, literally. I would say my parents.
But apart from that?
Because I like to treat everyone the same as me, where a lot of people in at the bottom, they get starstruck by people. And, you know, I've met certain people in life who are well accomplished, but at the end of the day, just like you're well accomplished. You prick our skin, we're going to bleed. We're all the same. Made of bones and blood. Yeah. But probably when I first started, a fellow by the name of Matt Cowdery, just how he took himself in the pool and outside the pool. He's a family man now, back in Adelaide. But no, he was a well-respected athlete. And what I really loved about him is he put in the hard work and he got results, where sometimes in Paralympic swimming, that's not how it happens. But for him, that's how it worked. And I think he was a good role model back in his day, and still is for other people going on in their career. But he was probably one of the ones that I sort of looked up to in a way. But when you go to Paralympics, it's really special. You know, forget about myself, but there's people over there that don't have their arms or their legs. And the way, you know, they eat food or dress themselves, it's amazing. You know, it's a real eye-opener. And I do recommend when the Paralympics comes on in 2 years' time, that all the people out there that aren't sure if they can do something or not, they need to watch that, because watching a fella put goggles on with his feet, you know, most people can't even touch their head with their foot, let alone put goggles on.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's I've gotten a lot out of not just the whole swimming discipline training side, but experiencing a lot of adversity, diversity.
Do you think we should rename the Paralympics? Just call it the Olympics? I mean, is that an issue, or is it just is it right?
Well, no, and I think this is probably a little bit controversial to like how I talk about who cares about midget, whatever. But no, because Paralympics is different to the Olympics. As in, you got the Olympians who are amazing people, fastest people on the planet. The Paralympians, they're not the fastest people on the planet, but they're the people that have a physical, some intellectual challenge that go out and do their best. So I think it's good having it the way it is, because, well, I find a lot of people say that the Paralympics is more inspiring than the Olympics, because you got people not only getting over or going through their disability or whatever it is their challenge is, but then they train on top of that.
Yeah, I find that incredible.
Yeah.
And it seems to be, to me, do much more popular today. I noticed the Commonwealth Games that are on at the moment, they've combined the two groups.
Yeah.
It's no longer Special Olympics or whatever we want to call it. To
well,
me,
yeah, there is still a Special Olympics, and that's for intellectual people.
Right.
But Paralympics is, well,
everyone.
got our brains, and we all have physical obstacles in front of us, and we have to make the most of it.
Yeah, so it's about people overcoming, let's call it adversity in day to day.
Yeah.
But it's not just getting in the pool and doing well. As you said earlier, it's about the extra effort that it takes to train and stay committed.
Yes.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And you train as much as a normal Olympian who might be doing, 2 sessions a day, whatever, 5 days a week. So, but, they don't have to catch planes and struggle on planes. It's just an extra struggle all the time. You just got to do something extra all the time. Like as you said, you were trying to press the button.
Yeah.
And it's just extra effort.
Yeah.
And you've got to have a certain brain, a certain developed brain. For me, I know it's about, everyone was talking about the physicality of the race. I get all that part. But for me, what I like about it is the brain power.
Yeah.
The extra brain power, the extra effort your brain has to put into it to build. It's not just resilience, but it's a process. There's an extra process.
Correct.
And your brain has to develop at a different rate to some boy or girl who's naturally gifted, as I said, like Usain Bolt, who can run in 9 seconds, but no matter what, even if he didn't train, he'd probably still run in 10 and a half. Doesn't matter. The real blessing is that someone like you can actually get through the extra effort.
Yeah.
It's the intellectual blessing that you have. There's an intellectual ability that most other people don't have.
And like, for example, a fella with no arms putting his goggles on with his feet. You go to a Liondis swim club in Sydney, and I bet you 99% of the parents will be putting their little kids' goggles on, and they got their arms.
Yeah.
How are they meant to learn?
Yeah.
Oh, but he's tired. Who cares if he's tired? Teach him to do it himself. That's what my dad used to do. You got arms and legs, even though I couldn't walk like my brother could. Do it yourself.
Yeah,
you do each other favours, but at the end of the day, you got to do it yourself, because I remember him saying, when you move out, Grant, and you told me that you want to live by yourself, yeah? And I said, yes. How are you going to do it if you're not used to thinking of a way around things? And I just quickly want to give you an example. At work, I've got a hairdressing stool that goes up to, I don't know, 4 foot, whatever, and I'm about your height on it. Yep. And it's on wheels, so I'll cruise around the counter. If I drop something, it literally takes a minute to go back to my bike, go down, hop on my bike, grab it, throw it back up, hop back. That's me. And when I do that mongrel inside goes, oh, and sometimes I make a joke to the customer, don't ever be a midget, it's too hard. Because literally, I have to stop what I'm doing, go back down, pick it up, and throw it up. If I got someone there, another sales rep beside me, oh, you grab that from me, easy. But for me, everything I do is I have to work. And I remember when I first started working there, because my dad used to own it, but he sold it 3 years ago. But I remember when I first started working there, I said, Grant, you're different, you know that. But it's nearly like, and this is probably why I work so hard, and that mongrel inside me is so strong. He said, you nearly need to work double the speed to keep up with someone that's got arms and legs, which is correct. And that's how I work. I look at myself. I take snapshots sometimes going, why are you running? But it's because I'm running to the chair to get on it and get back the same time it would for you to walk from the back to the computer.
There's sort of an efficiency that your brain has to
and
work out.
And I am a fish in the sea.
And you're also a joker, which, by the way, is an interesting sort of characteristic that you have. Apart from taking the piss of yourself, you have this ability to lighten the mood, but that's pretty cool. But there isn't an efficiency, intellectual efficiency that people like you have to develop. Because, as you say, if I drop something from Jolene and pick it up, if you drop something, you have to go back to your scooter, go and pick it up. There's an efficiency, an intellectual efficiency, and it'd be fucking frustrating because, and then there's another efficiency that you have that allows you to deal with the frustration. So, you can't be walking around dirty on the world because you just have to go back to get on your scooter to pick that thing up because there's no one that help you.
I did it.
Okay, so that's another efficiency. There's these intellectual efficiencies that you build that I never will have to build. And I think they actually equip you to be able to deal with whatever might happen. So when COVID happened, all of us so-called non-disabled people, whatever the word is, we all of a sudden got put in a fucking weird position that we'd never been in before. Whereas we couldn't live our normal life. We couldn't get in the car, drive here. We could catch a bus, train, where we go, wherever. We had to stay home. We had to do this. We had to rearrange our house. Had to make sure we did our work from home. And all of a sudden we got challenged in a way that we've never been challenged before. And most people fucking shit themselves and pretty much complain and blah blah blah. Say someone like you used to dealing with this crap.
You know what? I actually loved it because you know why? I still got the train. I ended up getting myself a bit of a deal with one of the pools. It was hush-hush for the 6 months. I was only doing 4 sessions, but it was something. And I did say to myself, if I didn't get that pool, like sneak in, I was going to go to the creek, freshwater creek, tie myself to a tree and swim in the rapids, but I ended up getting the pool. But that year of nothing happening, I enjoyed it because it was just me training and there was no expectations. Like when I go to trials, there's expectations of me doing a certain time to make the team, and then there's expectations for me on myself.
Pressure.
I have my own pressure. My expectations and pressure that I build in myself is higher than anyone else's because I know where I want to go on that mountain. And to go up there and really doing well all the time. So I actually enjoyed the year off. And let's talk about another example. For example, a lot of people were worried because they might have had a house and they're paying it off. But something that my parents taught me was always have money saved up because when there's that rainy day, you don't know what's going to happen. Me, I'm very lucky, got the parents, but I was fine. I was hoping that we got kicked out of work, so I'd sit at home. I actually started up doing piano lessons. That's something else. I'm like, Grant, I'm not doing as much now because of swimming. Let's do piano. So like,
you start playing piano?
Yeah.
And how do you go?
I can't reach everything, but I do a pretty good job. I was doing that at the Adelaide Airport, playing a bit of clocks. Elton John and Chris Martin inspire me in that. I love them. I've seen both of them live. Haven't met them, but it'd be awesome. But I was just having a little play at the Adelaide Airport on that piano, and one of the fellows was watching. But I get the biggest smile on my face when I can nut out a song because I think it's part of the reason why I do the motivational speaking. I like entertaining people in a way. And sometimes my talks, I get carried away and obviously I get to do a few jokes. Not on purpose, it's just me taking a piss out of myself. And I realise what I just said. I said,
But it seems like there's nothing in your mind, nothing you can't do.
Yeah. And that's what I like to portray to people. But
is there some wish that you've always had?
I'd like to be a singer because my voice box isn't designed for singing. I'm like a cat in a bucket.
Mate, the same enjoyment.
But I reckon I would rock the crowd because I've got that the energy and that buzz and the character like Elton John and all that to just carry on like a fool on stage. But
you're a performer though.
Yeah, but
I think you're a natural
sing.
performer. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, like Leonard Cohen couldn't sing. He sort of
do
murmured everything, but
mock-up things, But I love being part of the party. I don't want to say life of the party because I don't go out. I just like being out there, contributing, having a good time.
Well, what is your social life like? What do you do socially? When you're at home in Cairns, for example.
Well, for example, I went down Adelaide for my mate's 30th. That's probably the third time I've had a drink since I've been back from Portugal. I don't go out and drink much, but after I've done a main event, if there's something on, like a mate's birthday or something, I'll go out and have a few. But what I love the most is going out on a dance floor and having a boogie.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I see a lot of blokes. They're like, "Oh, it's all those chicks." I never have a win, but it's because I think people that like to be out there and have fun attract other people that with a similar ingenuity, if that's the right word.
I think that is.
And I don't go out there fishing for birds. I just go out there and have fun, and because I'm having fun, I want to have fun with you.
Yeah, well, people like light, especially when they're in the going to be entertained or going out for fun. They want light. I mean, people don't want heavy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants heavy shit. I mean, maybe some people do, but generally speaking, most people don't. They want to make a nice life. I'm the same.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I don't go out is because people sort of bombard me with they want to talk about the economy or something, or mortgages or something, and it's heavy for me. I just want to talk light. I'd rather just talk about how the Sydney Roosters went or how we, what's going on in State of Origin or something like that. Are you a footy fan?
AFL. Brisbane Lions.
Brisbane Lions.
The Bears.
Yeah, but what about Queensland State of Origin?
Yeah, I watched the State of Origin. That's about it with NRL. But I'm more of an AFL.
How did that happen? Like, because
Queensland. I know, because I'm a Cairns boy, and it's all NRL up there.
Totally.
I know. It's like I'm
North
an inbred.
Queensland, dude.
It's like a Victorian not watching AFL. I know. I just watched the game over time, and I enjoyed how it flows, I guess. And at school, I used to have a little miniature AFL ball, and me, one of my English mates, and the teacher, he was a Brisbane Lions fan, would get on the basketball court at lunchtime and belt the footy to each other and take screamers. Like,
So that's it. Well, I'm a Collingwood fan, so everyone
dirty
hates us.
pie. Everyone hates the pie.
Yeah, well, they hate
Good
us.
pie's
like,
dead pie.
Yeah, I know that's what everyone says. But like, I mean, I know I got sort of inducted into the Pies through Eddie McGrath because Eddie and I were mates, well, still mates, but like going back.
You remember back in 2002, 2000 and.
We took over sponsorship of Collingwood in 2002
and 2003 when you lost 2 in a row.
They were dreadful.
That was sad for you. How did you feel?
I wasn't happy. And I'll tell you why. It's a quick story.
Okay.
Is Eddie came along to me and said, we were at that point, my company called Wizard, we were sponsoring the pre-season competition and AFL pre-season competition. And I knew that NAB was trying to resurrect its brand, so NAB was always going to outbid us. So Eddie said to me, Ahmed Fahor, who was a friend of mine, Ahmed was the boss of NAB at the time, and Ahmed was a mad AFL fan, and Eddie was finding out from Ahmed exactly what was going on and feeding me back, and I was finding out on Saturday mornings when I was at footy with my kids and stuff. And so I let Ahmed, in the end, I knew NAB was going to outbid us, so Eddie said to me, listen, they're going to outbid you, mate. He said, but don't worry. He said, we've lost our sponsorship, which was the RTA, whatever it was, like the Roads and Traffic Authority, the equivalent of that in Melbourne, Victoria, because one of their players had got caught drunk driving.
Yeah.
So he said, you can go on our away jersey on the front and home jersey on the back, and we'll put you on there. And he said, look, because we've come last in the competition, or something like it was very close to that. He said, it's only going to cost you about $1 million a year. And I said, oh, okay, that's cool. Because, like that was a fair price for the business. So I agreed to do this sponsorship, and we did the sponsorship. And he said, but in the contract it said, but look, by the way, if we get to the top 8, we get a bonus. If we get to the top 4, we get another bonus. If we get to the grand final, we get a bonus. If we win the competition, we get another bonus. What I didn't, and I thought, well, they've come last. There's no way it's going to happen. So they got belted pretty hard, and I think it was about 2005 or 6 that I started this process, this sponsorship. And of course, they got in the top 8. They got in the then they worked their way through the top, and they ended up in the grand final. And the sponsorship went from $1 million to $2 million. Yeah. Now Eddie was my mate. I nearly barred him for life. Yeah. But I thought to myself, I stood back, I thought, how clever is that dude? Yeah. And I mean, I know he's not there anymore at Collingwood, but the guy was, for me, I became a Collingwood supporter because of it, but for me, the guy's legendary in the way he looked after his club. Yeah. Sure, he made some mistakes, but he would do anything for his club, anything, literally anything. And I didn't realise how powerful AFL fans and or AFL culture was until I experienced that with Eddie McGuire. I mean, it was quite a formidable sort of experience. I mean, sure, it cost me a lot more money. And by the way, we got good outcomes because, Collingwood, whilst not everyone loves Collingwood, they're broadcast. Everybody watches them.
Yes.
I mean, and you might hate them, but you still see the branding.
Yes,
on the
I hate
front.
them, but they're everywhere.
Yeah, totally. And but I just found it quite incredible how culturally strong AFL is. I mean, rugby league is too. Don't get me wrong. More so now than it ever has been, I think.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience for me. I mean, I really enjoyed that. But we're running out of time, mate, and I really appreciate you coming, on your way back to Cairns through here to sit down and talk to me. I want to, and I've been thinking about this the whole time as we've been talking. And you, as I said earlier, you take the piss out of yourself and you call yourself a midget and all that sort of stuff.
Short person, short.
But one conclusion or one realization I've had from this talk, and I would never realize this until I actually had an opportunity to sit and talk to you, is apart from my own gratitude, being able to understand a lot more how people like you think, is that I would describe you in terms of the way you approach everything and the way ultimately that you achieve everything. In other words, the process of achieving what you achieve, not just silvers and bronzes and hopefully one day gold, and not just independence, but I would describe you as a big man.
Thank you.
No, I mean that. Intellectually, especially, a very big man. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.